evangelical pastor in North Texas says he is stepping away from the ministry. You're talking about Dr. Tony Evans. He says he's stepping down due to sin.
We talked about him some time ago when he got denounced, put down, taken away from the clergy because of something that they called a sin, but they never told us exactly what it was. Well, Tony's back.
Dr. Evans has successfully completed this restoration journey.
Not really behind a pulpit anymore necessarily, but he got reinstated, at least accepted back, revered in the same position he was before. And there have been some people thinking that this is kind of off color. Why won't you tell anybody what you did? And how is it that you can just waltz back in? What was the things that you had to do in order to get back into this position? And people, it's a mixed review. Okay, there's some people that say he don't need to tell nobody nothing. But if we are going to go by the biblical aspects of things, then I'll break that down in a brief second here. And then there are some saying that he should have told everybody because he's supposed to come clean. Now, if we're going to go with the idea that he has already paid his dues, he's been repentant, and he's coming back to the fold because people accept him, confess your sins one to another, they're going to say, well, that's only to the elders, but that's not what it says. It says one to another, so everybody should know if they consider him the body. So how come the body don't know? That's my first question. So then the second question is, was it something that he did that was reinstatable? Now, again, we don't know. So if I'm going to sit under the tutelage of Tony Evans, shouldn't I know? Because again, he's supposed to be beyond reproach. Beyond reproach. But if there's a monicum of reproach out there for me to think about what he did, then he's not beyond reproach, is he? So maybe the reinstatement should have been held off until people knew and were able to forgive him in order to listen to him. Now, we got theories about what happened. I just think he did something. We all know he did something. They won't tell us what. I think he slept with somebody. It's just me. I think he slept with somebody. And I think the person was young. I think it was a young. I'm not saying it was a child. I'm just saying I think it was a young person. And I think it was a guy. But that's just what I think. That's just what I think. But since they won't divulge and he ain't above reproach no more, they're leaving this open for everybody to interpret the way they want. I might just be one person that thinks that. It might be 1,500 million people that think something completely different that's just as bad or worse. Think about this for just 1 second. If you are going to tell me that you're reinstating this man to a position, at least minimally coming back to a position that people will listen to him, even if he's not the main preacher where he's at, you are giving him the license to go back into this work, then at minimum, you should be able to tell somebody, this is why I had stepped away. This is the work I did. This is the forgiveness I'm asking of people. And this is no longer what I'm going to do. None of that took place. I don't care about people saying, you shouldn't be asking that. If that's the case, then why don't they do that with regular people? We're not supposed to esteem one higher than the other. Again, if y'all want to talk Bible, we're going to talk Bible, right? You're not supposed to esteem one above the other, but yet still you're going to have sister so-and-so come forward to confess all her sins. And if she don't confess before the congregation, she ain't coming back. But you got Tony up there, right? Because Tony cool. Because he a voice of a generation. Y'all don't need to know what he did. Just trust us. He's fine now. No, we're not going to trust you that he's just fine now. No. What did he do? Tell us now, what did he do? He is supposed to be in a position of leadership. And as a leader, you are held to a different standard. It even says they're going to be judged harsher. Right? Cool. If he going to get judged harsher, and I'm supposed to sit under him, shouldn't I know? And if I don't know, why am I going to sit under him? And why would I trust the people that are telling me that he's okay? And why should I sit under them? If their ideology is that far gone where they're going to hold the congregation to one standard, but the clergy to another, I don't want to be there. No one should be there. And don't tell me we shouldn't have to know. We should have to know. It's the entire point of the so-called Christian walk, isn't it? To know, to be free with each other, to be open in order to be forgiven. Isn't that part and parcel of what you're supposed to be preaching? But here he is waltzing back in, right? Nothing happened. Or if it did, you don't need to know what it is. And I catch what they're doing. They'll tell you, well, listen, he's not going to be in the pulpit necessarily anymore. But he did preach. He came back and he was offered a time to just speak. Not about what he did, not about what happened, none of that. And we're just supposed to just take it. I mean, I'm not following Tony Evans, so I don't know. I don't subscribe to anything that he's espousing. I don't listen to the man, so I wouldn't tell you that, hey, you should go listen to him too, or don't listen to him. I've listened enough to him to know that I should be knowing what he did in order to not talk anymore. At least, look, at minimum, this is the sin I did. You don't even have to go into the who with and the how long it went on. If you don't want to go, just tell me what you did. Go ahead. Just tell us what you did. Because you are now asking people in a congregation to live a life that's open with the congregation and the clergy while having somebody closed off and non-sharing of their struggle. Let's just put it in a frame of mind where it's no longer a hierarchy, okay? Let's just say that there are people in the congregation genuinely struggling with something. That Tony might be the same thing, struggling with that. And he went through it, and this person is looking to that clergy to give them an example of how it would look to get over something. And you don't tell nobody because you're Tony Evans. You don't tell nobody because you're a preacher. You're in the clergy. You don't need to share what you've been through. You especially don't need to tell them what you struggle with to lose your position. You don't need to tell them that. But you want them to listen to you about what's right, wrong, good, bad, biblical, not biblical. That's what you want us to do. Just let it go. Nah, I don't think we'll. I don't think we will. I think we're going to keep asking the question the same way we did the first time. Because if it wasn't that big a deal, you know what they could have just said? Tony's taking a break. I'm on vacation. It's a sabbatical. Nah, they had to tell you it was a sin. Now, for them to be that frank about it being a sin, it had to be fairly big. Let's just be honest about stuff, right? People do not just announce, I said, and I'm walking away from preaching. You walking away from preaching because you sin, and then it was something big. And usually, people, it's a track record. Usually, the cloth struggles with one very important thing. People throwing themselves at them and them taking the bodies. Male or female. Let's be honest, we can talk like grown-ups here. Let's talk some grown-up conversation. A pastor has to have a vice grip for a mind because they're in front of people all the time, and people like them because they're telling them something that they want to hear. They make them feel good or they make them feel repentant. Either way, they're engaged with people and they want to be a part of their life. And occasionally you might find some people that want to be more than just involved in the spiritual aspects of their life. In fact, they want to be so involved that they need to get counseling from this person one-on-one. And that one-on-one counseling can start, and then it becomes a little bit more because the person becomes so enamored with the fact that this person I revere is now talking to me one-on-one. They must care. And I start to care for them even more. And then something more happens. Before too long, something takes place, and you don't want the church to know about it, so you just say, this one's stepping away. In some cases, what they do is they'll call out the person that was a part of the problem and scoriate them in front of the congregation and don't actually talk about the other half of the equation. In this situation, they just want you to look at Tony as the God-fearing, all-knowing, wonderful man of God that he is, and preacher. Welcome him back. You don't need to know what he did. Just know that he was repentant of it. We don't need to know if it was a crime. You don't need to know none of that. Just, it's okay. All right. Now, y'all can hate us for this, but we got to ask the question about it, because if you're going to, again, quote the Bible, if that's your toe line, and that's where you're going to get all your references about how to handle it, they did not handle it biblically. Point blank, period. They didn't. Because they want to pick and choose what the people that say they follow this man knows. They want to decide what could be condemning and not. They want to decide what could be disqualifying and not. They want to decide what's reproachable and reprehensible and not. Now you, not the one listening, not the one under their ear. And you could be listening to somebody that has no intention of following God, but they talk a big game. As soon as people are not willing to tell you the whole deal about their life in terms of something that they've done, and they're asking you to follow them, red flag. You see, people can go back to, we have this much about our platform, and it's not a pride thing. Well, not the kind of pride you might think. We are content to know that everybody knows our history. You know why that is? Because it's history. That's the best part about it, is history. And you can go back and you can look at us saying it with our own mouth, what we've done. But for some reason, we are different. We are held to that. We need to be held accountable. But when it comes to clergy and people like Tony Evans, you don't need to know. The man needs his privacy. How dare you try to improve? He's an old man. He's just trying to live his life. He was sorry for what? I don't care for what, but he was sorry. How do you know he was sorry? He's so sorry that he won't tell you what he's sorry for? Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Hey, again, y'all believe what you want. If that's all it takes for you to come back on a bandwagon, then that's all it takes. But for now, they say he's back in. He can preach wherever he wants. But I don't think he's actually at the helm anymore at the church he's at, with good reason. If he's that, no, hear me again. If he's that repentant and he's that recovered, then you should just put him right back where he was, right? No, that don't raise a red flag to you neither. Okay. Apparently there might still be stuff in the basement he needs to get rid of still, maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they also know the truth that people still hold him in reproach. So he's not really back, is he? He must be beyond reproach, beyond it. Not still in the midst of it, not residue of it, beyond it. So again, if you disagree with that, please let me know how and why, because I'm not quoting myself here. I'm using the place that everybody else goes to, the Bible. Okay? So whatever your thoughts are on Tony getting reinstated, called back, forgiven, not really have to tell nobody, please let us know, because I would love to hear your viewpoint about it. Cannot wait for you to give us that viewpoint. And trust and believe this point. If you bring us solid information about the reasons why this does not need to be divulged to the public, we will listen to you. We'll listen to you either way, but we might give you way more credence if you can really flesh it out to give us at least something to grab onto to make it make sense. We look forward to your comments in the description below.
I stab stereotypes, the map, the math, you call it conflict, I call it context, two lenses, one text, next to flex, they clip a clip, too quick, fix the narrative, I stitch the stitch, back to the narrative, comparative, when your feed feeds a frenzy, rewind, find the friendly faces in the frenzy that they fenced away, street light testimony, shadow speaks different in bright light than in night fights, watch the white light bite, I got verbs that twist verbs, siren that reverse sirens, hear the siren say, listen, my lines are lifelines, throw one, save none, save